In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed and put into order to announce and outline the American separation from Great Britain. This act of self-determination had begun the renowned Revolutionary War, in which America proved to the Royal Crown that they were strong enough and independent enough to exist on their own. In 1781, the Battle of Yorktown marks the final English defeat in the Revolutionary War. American rule is turned over from King George to the Articles of Confederation, which were agreed upon by the colonies to govern themselves under the new establishment. And in 1783, peace with the mother country was signed in Paris. A few years later, in 1787, America got its first taste in internal conflict. Army veteran Daniel Shays led rebels in an uprising against the economic injustices they felt by the current state government. When this rebellion ended, it had brought many public concerns regarding the Articles of Confederation, as it wasn't clear enough outlining states' rights versus federal rights. The people decided that the Articles could not stick around as a long-term charter, and a collection of delegates was sent to the First Constitutional Convention to create a new set of statutes. However, the convention didn't go as easily as planned due to arduous political debates over governmental roles. No one could agree what this new nation should really be at its core. In response to these arguments, John Jay, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton banded together to anonymously write the Federalist Papers, explaining to the American people their ideas for the new government roles. These papers were a huge success, and later that year the Constitution was ratified unanimously by all 13 states. General George Washington was inaugurated in 1789 as the new commander-in-chief and president in the United States. The next year, the United States decided upon the District of Columbia as their new nation's capital, in a political deal that traded New York as the capital for a tax plan that would unify the states under a national debt, a plan New York was in great favor of. But not always did simple deals end arguments. Sometimes a show of American military force was needed. For instance, the Whiskey Rebellion came as in opposition to a tax instated on the production and sale of alcohol. This skirmish was ended when George Washington sent a militia to order the people to disarm and respect the laws of the new institution. On this occasion, Washington was able to show his great leadership and prowess by dismantling a conflict that would otherwise have split the people permanently. Then in 1795, the new United States government passed both the Jay and Pinckney treaties. These accords outlined the United States as a neutral entity during European conflicts. They also attempted to establish good relations with previous enemies, England and Spain. This was a clear indication that the new nation was one of diplomacy as well as ideals. After acting as the forefront of American politics for the majority of his life, George Washington retired from the presidency in 1796. His farewell address to the people is famous for displaying his beliefs in American unification. He warns against partisan fighting, as well as federally violating states' rights. This address would go on to be known for its urging away from petty internal fights, and to advocate that the nation should stand like a beacon of liberty and the right of the people in the world. Once again, the new United States showed the end of its focus on separation and independency phase, and the beginning of a new era with a strong established government. The late 1790s brought two things to the new nation: John Adams as the next president and great political tension. It has been said that these two things were interconnected, but anyhow, the country had a lot to deal with. During the Adams administration, the XYZ affair began an undeclared war with France, when French diplomats demanded bribes before negotiation. This forced American politicians to redefine their policies regarding international diplomacy. This situation had to be dealt with carefully, and the government at the time was strongly federalist. So party leaders responded to the France affair by passing the Alien and Sedition Acts. These laws were instituted to give new powers to the federal government regarding the deportation of foreigners as well as the voting of immigrants. However, this new nation had been founded on respecting the voice of the people, and shortly thereafter, the people responded to the Federalist parties with both the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions. These were put in place to falsify the aforementioned acts and deem them unconstitutional. Here, as well as many other times, our young government shown its ability to pass laws and end conflicts while still respecting the voice of the people to keep them in check. Not appreciating Adams' presidential performance in the previous administration, the American voters soon responded by electing a strong Democratic-Republican majority. And in 1800, Thomas Jefferson faced John Adams for presidency and won by such a large margin it was nicknamed a revolution. This was the first time power had been taken from one party and given so strongly to another. Jefferson focused on a decentralized government, which would be in direct opposition to the previous institution. In this revolution, American politics were established as a bipartisan institution where branches of power were kept in check by each other. Although it had its ups and downs, this newly established country flexibly adjusted according to the problems it faced. It can clearly be seen that these early years marked the arrival of a new, established national system and the end of a revolutionary phase based on separation and independence. Although conflict inevitably arose, it was acted upon in a manner that would lay the groundwork for United States governmental policies in the coming decades.